to find a shot and steers the ball into the post. What a debut from Ademola Lookman in the 37th minute.
Atlético Madrid faced Real Betis in the Copa del Rey. In the league, Atlético sit third and Betis are fifth, only 2 places apart. Yet the result was a brutal 5-0 win for Atlético. Betis tried to disrupt Atlético's build-up by pressing aggressively high up the pitch, but Simeone's side, now strengthened with the addition of Lookman, played through it with surprising ease and instantly turned the mood around after a difficult run of form. In this analysis, we'll break down the clear attacking plan Simeone brought into this match and how Atlético consistently created decisive moments. To understand Atlético Madrid's attacking strategy, we first need to examine the defensive structure Betis used in this match. Real Betis defended primarily in a 4-4-2 mid-block in the mid-third. In this structure, the number 9 forward was usually excluded from direct pressure, while the rest of the team focused on aggressively closing down the possessor. When an Atlético Madrid ball carrier dropped deeper and carried the ball backward to draw pressure, the first defender followed to apply pressure. However, Betis's defensive line often failed to shift forward in unison. As Atlético progressed again through short combinations, another Betis player stepped out to press, once more creating large vertical gaps between the lines. The same pattern appeared in Atlético's goal kick build-up. Betis activated a high press to disrupt progression, applying a strong ball-side man-oriented press, with players stepping out one by one according to the ball's movement. In the defensive third, Betis settled into a compact 4-4-2 low block, with a clear aim of aggressively denying any entry into the block. Even here, the number 9 forward remained higher up the pitch, positioned to anticipate a counter-press. When Atlético attempted to play into the block, multiple Betis players collapsed toward the ball simultaneously to shut down the action and deny penetration. Atlético Madrid's build-up solution against Betis's aggressive high pressure was to force the block to shift, stretch it horizontally, and then attack the gaps that opened inside. In this sequence, the move begins with the goalkeeper playing a pass into the defensive line. The defender then carries the ball slowly toward the left, deliberately attempting to draw the opposition out. This successfully attracts Betis's pressure and, at the same time, creates greater distance from the players positioned on the right side. As a result, 6 Betis players, excluding the defensive line, are pulled toward the ball side, forming a compact block in the central area. Once this objective is achieved, the left-sided midfielder makes a quick movement inside to trigger the intended attack. He immediately plays a backward pass to the right center-back to force Betis to shift across. Simultaneously, another midfielder moves into the center to open a passing lane and draw additional defenders, while the forward ahead moves toward the right to offer a passing option. As intended, Betis shift to the right and a clear gap opens. With the passing lane now fully created, the defender plays a direct vertical pass into the highest line. Timed with this action, the right fullback accelerates into the space ahead. After drawing the defender, the possessor releases the ball into this channel, allowing Atlético to progress the attack at speed. In the next sequence, the build-up starts with the defender playing a short pass to the right fullback. Betis's pressure is drawn toward that side, and the entire block shifts to the right. The possessor then recycles the ball back to the defender, initiating a switch of play. Through a series of short passes, the ball is circulated all the way to the left flank, pulling Betis's block fully across once again. Once Betis are completely drawn to the left, a short combination finds a central player. With the opposition now heavily shifted, the possessor plays a direct pass in one action to the right fullback. Although Betis attempt to shift back quickly, a gap appears, space opens ahead of the ball, and a forward pass is immediately played into this area, with a midfielder making a sharp movement to receive. As two Betis defenders step out to mark the possessor, another free space emerges centrally. Recognizing this, the possessor delivers a perfectly timed pass into the central zone, exploiting the newly created space and allowing Atletico to continue the attack at high tempo. In counter-attacking situations, Atletico Madrid's primary option is to exploit Lookman. On the right flank, two Atletico players close in and successfully win the ball. With the opponent already committed forward in attack, Atletico look to progress quickly, immediately playing the ball into midfield. At the same time, another midfielder accelerates into the central space. Betis attempt to regain possession instantly, sending three players, including pressure on the possessor, to block nearby options. After drawing this pressure, the possessor recycles the ball back to a defender, briefly shifting the opponent's focus. A Betis midfielder reacts by stepping out to block the defender, but the defender immediately plays forward into the central lane. As a center-back from the defensive line is pulled out to engage the possessor, the passing lane opens. The ball is then released into space for Ademola Lookman, who is already making a sharp run in behind. Using his dynamic superiority, Lookman carries the ball forward at speed, easily separating from his marker and finishing the transition with a dangerous shot. In the next sequence, the move begins with Atletico clearing an inaccurate cross. Instead of simply clearing long, the defender plays forward toward an attacker. As Antoine Griezmann receives the ball, Lookman immediately attacks the space in behind once again. Two defenders rush to press Griezmann, but he calmly evades the pressure, using a quick backward pass to eliminate the press before releasing the ball into Lookman's path. At the same time, Pablo Barrios makes a powerful forward run through the center. When two defenders step out to confront Lookman, he slips the ball into the central space for Barrios, allowing Atletico to surge into the defensive third at speed. As pressure arrives once more, the ball is returned into the left side of the box, where Lookman continues his run. Despite multiple defenders converging on him, Lookman again exploits his dynamic superiority, drawing defenders away as another runner attacks the box. With the defensive line fully destabilized, Lookman creates the final separation and finishes the move himself, turning the counter-attack into a decisive goal.
In the 37th minute.
Even in set-piece situations and throw-ins, Atletico Madrid's primary option was to look for Ademola Lookman. In this sequence, Atletico Madrid are dealing with a throw-in deep in their own defensive third. Betis's block is heavily shifted toward the ball side, with almost all defenders compacted on the right. Rather than playing short to a nearby option, the main thrower delivers the ball slightly inside to Alex Baena. Two Betis players immediately jump out to apply pressure and attempt to regain possession. At the same time, Ademola Lookman prepares to sprint forward. Baena withstands the pressure and successfully releases the ball to Lookman, who is positioned close to the halfway line. Using his dynamic superiority, Lookman drives forward at speed with the ball. Antoine Griezmann instantly supports the transition, sprinting through the center toward the box. Just outside the penalty area, two defenders converge on Lookman. Rather than forcing a shot, he shows composure and slips the ball into the path of the overlapping Griezmann, who is making a diagonal run across him. Griezmann receives without contest and calmly finishes the move with a clean strike, completing a rapid transition from a defensive throw-in to a goal.
Into the top corner of the net. That's the fourth goal for Atletico.